Imagine a kingdom that you have to build and protect because it's in constant war, where each day new troops from hostile factions try to claim your lands, destroy your kingdom, and take your wealth. In very short words, this is Defender's Dynasty, a roguelike strategy game where you try to protect your lands and survive the next wave. Let me show you my adventure with this project, and the challenge of whether I will be able to survive 100 waves, and I will try to explain what it is along the process. I received this game for free to make this video, and the version I'm playing is available to me before the game is released. After the tutorial, I started by simply learning the basics and gaining experience. There is one map where elements are randomly generated, except for the center where the main base stands, and whoever wants to rule there needs to build their kingdom around it. Instantly, there are arrows indicating from which side the first group of enemies will appear. I choose to build an arrow tower. The name explains everything, and that was my very first line of defense. Another important building was the first farm. In Defender's Dynasty, you need to watch out for resources. There are 3 of them at the beginning: food, wood and stone, with a 4th one unlocked later. As you might expect, each building you place consumes some of the produced food, so as your kingdom grows, you will need to place multiple farms to keep your supplies above the limit. Quickly after that, the first wave started, and I was sure my single arrow tower would handle it without problems, at least for now. I instantly started building stone masonry, because without stone, it's hard to build or rebuild anything else. The very first wave ended in victory, giving me a chest with resources as a reward. In the meantime, I built a woodworks, another crucial building for survival. Throughout my adventure, I had multiple issues with placing this building too close to others, until I later realized that you need to build it close to the resource, which is in this case a tree, and 1 tree per building. The next wave was coming in. Thankfully, it was small and easy to take care of. Then suddenly a storm appeared with heavy rain. At that moment I learned that the weather impacts production in all buildings. That's why it's important to manage resources production with some planning ahead. More waves were coming, and thankfully my tower was saving the inhabitants of my unnamed kingdom. I was safe for that time, yet enemies started coming from another directions, so I used collector resources and built another tower. To my surprise, with wave 5 a bigger group came, and even though I put a brand new tower, it wasn't enough to stop the attackers. I quickly placed another tower nearby, but it was too late, and the attackers managed to deal some damage to my small kingdom. Thankfully, I made them stop. It wasn't without a loss, and it wasn't a success, but still I and my kingdom survived. I just had to rebuild what I lost and prepare for the next challenges. From a player side, I need to admit that the art style looks kind of clean and full of colors, yet at the same time, both the menu, upgrade system and overall gameplay clearly shows that the developers probably started their adventure with game dev on the mobile side of gaming. The UI and, for example, the animations of moving enemies units strongly resemble mobile games. Or maybe the game was meant to be a mobile project at the beginning, and later they changed vision and went for a full PC release. It still looks nice, so I don't have problem with. I'm just pointing out my opinion. To be honest, I spotted in Defender's Dynasty some areas that could be improved, which I will talk about later while showing you more of the project. As I tried to rebuild my village and started placing more towers to protect people, more and more enemies were coming. My kingdom was struggling to hold back the attackers, because each destroyed building brings more cost and problems. Thankfully, up to the point, only 1 group of hostile troops has been coming in per wave. But then, with wave 11, bigger problems appeared. You see, the more waves you survive, the more enemies will spawn, and this time 2 groups of attackers were coming, and my defenses on the sides weren't the best. So I quickly used my resources to build more towers. I didn't want to lose without a fight, and for sure I'm not giving up easily. Unfortunately, my victory was more like survival for just another day, because although we fended off the troops, we didn't manage to do it without losing towers. Then 2 bigger groups of goblins spawned, causing destruction and big trouble. My kingdom lost many buildings, and even the most important one got damaged too. I started feeling that the fall of my village was closer than expected. With the next wave, the worst happened, even though my brain was working at 100%. I wasn't strong enough to survive more. I got to wave 15 and then I was defeated. A Defender's Dynasty features constant waves, the player is doomed to fall sooner or later. Thanks to the experience I collected, I was able to claim some magic ores. As it turns out, there are special resources that allows you to upgrade your kingdom before another go. I invested these collected ores to boost my tower's damage and went for another try. The second try wasn't better. I listed even fewer ways, but still I gained some experience. I decided to play off record to gather more experience before hitting the real challenge, trying to survive 100 waves. From my perspective, I unlocked a few things that were locked at the beginning, like the time management, which allows me to double the game speed, or for example lightning strikes. They work like this: when a storm comes, from time to time lightning strikes your buildings, damaging them. To be honest, I don't know why this feature is locked at the first, and why other things that should be available from the beginning need to be unlocked. But I will share my thoughts about this later. Anyway, you have quite basic upgrades, both for heroes you can hire and your buildings. You spend the magic ore you collected on progression. What's important is that at level 3 you obtain a new resource that is crucial to the gameplay: gold. It turns out each building, even your main one, can be upgraded during a session by spending gold bars. These are not permanent upgrades. They stay only within the session you are currently playing. As you might guess, these upgrades boost production efficiency, increase building health, and raise damage output. You can collect gold from fallen enemies if they leave a chest, from wells that sometimes have treasure inside, and from the proper building, the miner's den, which produces gold bars. And I'm not gonna lie, if you want to survive without these upgrades, it will be hard. As I played more, I got a high level and collected a lot of magic ores, which I spent on upgrades in the main menu. Then I decided to go for the final round and see if I could get to wave 100. I started simple, but with much more knowledge than in my first playthrough. I placed towers and upgraded them instantly if I was able to. I also placed towers further from the main building, giving me more space to place production building in the future. Good strategy and careful planning will be your best friend at the beginning here. Then I placed a new defense unit, the Ballista Tower. They are much more expensive, but in return, they have higher range and deal more damage. With wave 13, a bigger group of enemies appeared, causing some small troubles, but they weren't able to break through my defense line, so I only spent some resources fixing my buildings. It was running kinda smooth. With each wave, more arrow and ballista towers appeared, along with other production buildings. Yet, I knew the more waves I survived, the bigger the problems would become, so I used a newly acquired weapon: heroes. Heroes works like your troops. You place the house of a specific hero, and when enemies appear within their building range, they rush toward them. Heroes can be defeated, but after some time they respawn, so they are a great addition to your defense. However, there are limitations. In the current build of the game I'm playing, you can only unlock 3 heroes total, and you can place only 1 house of each. So you will still need plenty of ballista and arrow towers anyway. Before wave 20, I placed another hero, this time an archer, and he definitely helped a lot, but I knew it still wouldn't be enough. By wave 20, 3 groups of hostile attackers came my way. I kept increasing my production rate and placing more towers. Well, as more enemies came, I lost a few towers. You can repair them when they are damaged, but there is a cooldown of 20 seconds, so I thought to myself, I need to boost defense even further. Thanks to my upgrades, I built a healer's heaven. You can build 2 of them. They heal and slowly fix all the buildings within their small range. It doesn't change much, but it's still better than nothing. With wave 30, 4 enemy groups spawn. What's funny is that in later waves the number of enemy groups doesn't increase beyond 4. They just grow in number. That's a bit of a downside from now, but keep in mind that I'm playing a pre-release version of the game. By wave 50, my kingdom was bigger and stronger, with defense lines all over the place. Enemies were growing stronger too, some easier to beat, other tougher. You have to keep an eye on your buildings. Attackers destroy one building after another in their path instead of rushing straight to the center. That gives you some time to respawn and survive a bit longer, but if you let them do too much damage, you will lose. By wave 80, my kingdom was filled with nothing but towers, boosted to max level. I had to keep my eye on them, because at this point the hostile units were really tough and came in larger groups. Still, I managed. Then I reached the wave 99. Plenty of goblins-like units came my way. My heroes tried to protect the land, and in the end, it was too easy. But I got what I wanted. After that, I stopped playing for now, because I achieved my goal. Still, I think that the developers needs to work more on the game. There should be elite enemies every 10 waves and boss enemies every 25 waves to spice things up. Time control shouldn't be unlocked only at level 26. Same goes for storm-related feature. Technically, you unlock the storm that destroy buildings, and later you upgrade it so it happens less often, which feels kinda pointless. I also think that there should be more defense buildings, maybe walls, traps, or building upgrades like turning a small farm into medium one at level 6, then into big one at level 12. The same should go for towers and heroes to give the player more to do. In fact, in the current build I was playing, I had fun until wave 50. After that, I started to feel more like a repetitive mission where I just placed more towers and focused on fixing them, because there wasn't much else to do. In the game you can also unlock T-Bolt, the merchant. He allows you to trade some goods for others. But honestly, when I unlocked him, I was already strong enough that I didn't really need his services. Yet, I see great potential here for a cool game. The project just needs more good content. Anyway, in the description, there's a link to the game so you can check it out yourself and add it to your wishlist. That's all folks, thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye!